Welcome to the 74th annual meeting of the Academy of Management. Welcome and thank you. You. I mean, starting with my family, my mom, Karen and Barry, Margie and Joey. I'm thrilled that you're here. You is also all of you. The annual Academy Management meeting is possible because of your words. Your paper PDW submissions, reviews of submitted work, presentations at PDWs and paper sessions, audience comments, questions, discussion, all amazingly volunteer-driven. If you have submitted work, reviewed work, or prepared a presentation, please stand now so we can recognize you. And I mean it, don't be shy. Thank you. Relative to the number of volunteers, the Academy of Management's headquarters staff are few, amazingly few. Hence, also extremely creative and hardworking. Thank you, headquarters staff and our executive director, Nancy Urbanowitz. Our meeting's 2014 theme, the power of words. The submissions that we got this year, fantastic. And in particular, those that were targeted to the theme. I had a fantastic All-Academy theme committee. And in fact, if any of you are here in the room, I know people are divided across many activities, but if you're here, please stand. I want to be sure to thank you. I'm going to be talking in a little bit about the theme, but before I do, I'd like to give thanks also to our sponsors. We are really a village, all of us. We couldn't do this meeting without the help of everybody. Thank you, sponsors. And in particular, I would like to thank first our Platinum Plus sponsor, the Copenhagen Business School. Our Platinum sponsors, IMD, WU, Vienna University of Economics and Business, Society for Human Resource Management, or who we call SHRM for short, Villanova School of Business, Eisenberg School of Management, UMass Amherst, BI Norwegian Business School, ESMT, the European School of Management and Technology. Those are our Platinum sponsors. Thank you. And I want to give thanks also to our gold sponsors, the Luis Università Guido Carli and the Department of Management, Texas A&M University. Thank you. Thank you. The All-Academy program that emerged from this year's theme, really amazing. It shows the power of leaders' words to motivate performance, the power of words to create organizational change, the power of words to increase learning and other outcomes, the power of words to influence cross-cultural understanding, the power of words in the work of scholars, educators, and leaders, the power of words to increase the quality of scholarly work and its impact, the power of words for organizing, the power of words on government organizational relationships, and the power of words that are hot and in social media. All of the papers are organized around these themes, and they're in the program with this thematic cue, and I think you'll find it extremely stimulating. And then across all divisions, there's fantastic papers, some attached to the theme, some not. Regardless, you all have done really a fantastic job. With regard to this last point, actually collectively, everything shows across the program that words have consequences. Consequences from multiple levels, within and across individuals, teams, organizations, and countries. With regard to this very last point, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, because in fact, it's the social media in particular, helped of course by the internet, that makes words hot, and in fact makes words. We say things now that before our internet experiences, we never said before. Like us on Facebook, tweet it, Google it, ask Google, let's Skype. These are words we never had before the internet and social media gave us experiences with them. But even everyday old words take on new meaning because of the internet and our social media experiences, like store it in the cloud, do you have a backup, are you friends, how many followers do you have, are you following him or her, is he or she following you, block him or her, unfriend him or her, blog it, YouTube it, Facebook it. Facebook, is it a noun or is it a verb? It really does get confusing. This program this year and the theme is supposed to sensitize us also to the fact that we now live in a world of Twitter. And I wanted this theme of this year to cause us all to question, is business as usual? Which statement below is more true? And I'm actually going to ask you to answer this question out loud. A, business is usual, which means the internet has hardly at all changed our work activities. Or B, business is not as usual, which means the internet has non-trivially changed the nature of our work. Is it A or B? What would you say? And I just want to hear the letter. B. You all are acing this test. How are we, as scholars, educators, consultants, affected? How might we, as scholars, educators, consultants, be more effective? Albert Einstein said, "It is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge." The teacher. Who is the teacher in today's classroom? Who, during class, are students listening to? Today, can moving the student's seat stop a student from chatting? What are the subjects of chats, and who receives them? With what consequences? What can we do? Who is we? I changed the question slightly now with leaders in mind. Who is the leader in today's workplace? Who during work are employees listening to? Today, can moving the employee's location stop an employee from chatting? What are the subjects of chats, and who receives them? With what consequences? What can we do? Who is we? I changed this question again slightly with leaders in mind of countries. Who is the leader in today's countries? Who, during political speeches, are country citizens listening to? Today, can political action such as policy, surveillance, or physical isolation stop country citizens from chatting? What are the subjects of chats, and who receives them? With what consequences? What can we as international communities do? Who is we? All of these things illustrate again, words have consequences. And that's why the theme is the power of words. But I want to highlight here that yes, technology extends words' reach and speed. But let us not forget, words themselves have consequences. It is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge, said Albert Einstein. To awaken joy. That's a consequence. The power of words. That's why the theme is the power of words. And why the theme is, again, the power of words. An essay that was titled The Power of Words by a very famous poet, one of the most inspiring speakers and writers of all time, Frederick Buechner, said this: words written 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, can have as much of this power today as ever they had it then to come alive for us and in us and to make us more alive within ourselves. That, I suppose, is the final mystery, as well as the final power of words, that not even across great distances of time and space do they ever lose their capacity and of becoming incarnate. Well, if words are indeed powerful, the power of words. Are they really powerful? Plato thought so. He said the poetry is nearer to vital truth than history. Robert Frost said poetry is when emotion has found its thought and the thought has found words. Aristotle said poetry is finer and more philosophical than history. For poetry expresses the universal and history only the particular. Well, if words are truly powerful, and if they're even more powerful in the form of poetry, I thought I might give it a try. I think perhaps my words this time will get delivered all in rhyme. And if by chance you're doubting me, listen extra carefully. I'm doing this because, you see, I really want my words to be impactful, heard, remembered, and powerful in what they send. The power of words, that's this year's theme. Now, what does this theme really mean? This theme's meant to make us pause, to realize words do often cause consequences, good and bad. The course they take depends a tad on words we choose and others too, and how we opt to say and do. The things we write or blog or speak or post to Facebook, tweet, retweet. Words shape thought and actions, and words engender foe or friend. Words' effects can run amok. Picked with care, words aid good luck. Expressed instead without much care, words like stones sting here and there. Where is there and where is here? The answer is no longer clear. 24/7, 365, while we're sleeping, words go live. Anywhere, because words have reach. Thanks to emails, blogs, and tweets. Thanks to digital networks and network ties across global friends. Who is speaker? Who receives? 'Tis no longer clear with ease. Why is this? The digital face often lacks a name or trace. Scores on products, services come from whom? He says, she says. Evidence shows, at least sometimes, the critics aim to undermine their target. Why? Because, you see, they, in actuality, are vying with the folks they ding, and victors when their words do sting. Competing for the best reviews, competing for praiseworthy news, competing for likes, thumbs up, and in search of followers, new friends. Harmful acts, the research shows, often target stars who go way off way off the charts performance high. Toppling them helps others fly. Mouse-clicked ratings, instead of paper, surely do ease manual labor. Yet, response rates suffer when raters have no pencil, pen. With their mouse clicks, instead of ink, ratings tend, you guessed, to sink. Explanations often include raters who become unglued, usually those with axe to grind, not the ones with peace of mind. Is this whining? Ask the firm. Good repute, decades earned, suffers damage from a tweet, full of lies, with no retreat. Can't, because it knows not who, from which source it did ensue. Chatter that went viral when tweets occurred from foe, not friend. They, whose aim 'twas to unseat number one, thus making heat. Ask the prof, whose ratings poor, show 'cause he gave low scores. To student cheaters, who wickedly organized it digitally, a plan of revenge via Rate My Professor, to make the instructor score much lesser. Ask the scholar who suffers taint when reviewers claim pubs ain't valuable when perhaps they are. It's easy with words to dim a star. It's easy, too, for words to raise hordes of people when there's praise that comes from viral messages, especially ones like Oprah says. New potential does accrue in this internet era, too. Trojan worms and heartbleed bugs, viruses by faceless thugs, security breaches like WikiLeaks and Instagrams when leaders speak. YouTube videos and photo shots gained permission? Often not. One good thing about internet, it speeds talking, helps us vet. Thoughts we have and feelings too, probably I have emailed you. Employees also net talk while they work or later walk. Voice now takes on quite new forms, helped by tweets. Voice raises storms of angry publics or joyous supporters within and across many borders. My point here is words affect lives of people, firms, their net. Therefore, words stir consequence, especially when their mouse click sent. How should words get managed now? Theories, findings don't say how. Persuasion theory assumes a face and then assumes that we can trace who said what to whom and when, in situations known to friends. Leadership theories assume face too of leaders whose visions supposedly do inform, inspire, and motivate people, teams, to do things great. The internet has changed how much talk comes from just higher ups. Social media postings, tweets carry visions that compete, sometimes with what leaders say. Does this weaken leaders' way? Does this weaken management of company-wide sentiment, of the news stakeholders see, locally and globally? We don't know these answers yet. Fairly recent internet. When I earned my PhD at Northwestern University, email did not yet exist. Airmail did. Cross borders, yes. If I sought the library, had to walk there, yes sirree. When I had to research, look, I had need to touch a book. How to manage words today? Our field's journals do not say. This conference helps illuminate answers needed, so await. Across divisions, symposia, submitted by a bunch of ya, caucuses, PDWs, all show words of varied hues. Leader speeches, annual reports, business models, employee retorts, policies, rules, government reforms. Unequivocally, all shape norms. Challenged, though, by microphones, net provided, globally owned. This conference highlights methods, too, for studying words of many who, those who email, post, tweet, blog, and yes, speak their dialogue. As a whole, the program shows words' effects indeed do grow from many layered sources, and therefore we should understand contextually rich nuances ought to guide he says, she says. May this conference cause a stir about the way we use our words. Do we help to aid connect when we quickly choose reject? When a paper in round one isn't loved by everyone? Are we helping to create many top performing greats? Are our publishing criteria enhancing innovation? Are we inspiring thoughts past gray? When promotions count only A's? Are our words collectively advancing science or academy? Rigor or relevance? Why this war? Why those two words, either or? Both are needed, both need tweak, both should therefore be our speak. Do our words embrace those who write, speak, blog, discoveries new? Or celebrate alone A hits, and thereby risk the loss of bits of insights needed to improve the things we think and teach and do? What are the words we hear us speak when Evita we critique? May this conference help us see the power of words non-trivially, the power of words in all we do as scholars, teachers, leaders too. Let us open up our minds to methods new of varied kinds, including sources for new thought, so we're not just cycle caught. Let's think can and speak can too, listen and then state our views. That's conference like we've ne'er before, alert to both words, either or. Change them to the strong word and, inspiring all. Indeed, we can. So recognizing our own word's power is a consequence I thought this theme could help us recognize. Thank you. The power of words. Let's have the best word exchange ever. Now, please help me welcome to the podium Jerry McDermott, who will present the George R. Terry Book Award, followed by Mary Ann Glynn, who will present this year's winners of the Academy's Career Achievement Awards.
Thank you very much. So, I was honored to be the chair of the Terry Book Award for Best Book in Management this year. And we had over 65 submissions. They were excellent. Just to give you an idea, the major rule, several criteria I'll list in a second, is that it did exclude edited volumes. Up in front of you, you see the 5 finalists, which include a great book by Francesca Gino, Zoltan Ach, Nancy DiTomaso, Mark Misrucci, and Damon Phillips. Something about these books I'll let you know is that we didn't go in and come up with any detailed criteria. We, the committee, which, and I have to thank, by the way, several of the committee members here, Mike Lounsbury, Sarah Kaplan, Wilbur Chung, and Chip Hunter. And we began our work in January, February. And the major criteria you could see up here. But in terms of content, we didn't have any coordinated message or major theme that we were pushing. We looked at really strength of scholarship and impact and importance and contribution to society and management. And I think one of the things that did come about, perhaps coincidentally, is that you'll notice with all these finalists, these books are actually dealing with themes that are very, very relevant today in society, and not just in the workplace or within the firm, but they reach in all these issues out into society, and big public debates such as the future of the economy right now, the future of, or the role of corporations and entrepreneurs in society and their ability to work with different social and political actors, and issues like race, discrimination, earnings, income, growth. They're really fantastic works, really fantastic works. And I will actually now turn to who won. So we have these 5 finalists, and we do have a runner-up, and I'd like you all to give a round of applause for our runner-up is to Nancy DiTomaso and her great book, The American Non-Dilemma. And now our winner, it's almost like the Academy Awards. And this was, all these were pretty unanimous. These decisions were easy to make in terms of Nancy's book and Mark Misrucci's book, The Fracturing of the American Corporate Elite. This way? Yeah, you go. Okay, thank you very much. And now, Mary Van Glynn.
Good morning. I think these are the Academy Awards, literally and figuratively. It is my distinct pleasure to have chaired the Awards Committee for Career Achievement. That falls in 4 categories: Distinguished Educator, Scholar Practitioner, just getting the order right, Distinguished Service, and Scholarly Contributions to Management. We had a great committee, and I want to acknowledge the role of Chris Marquis, Stella Nacomo, Anna Leary-Kelly, and Mike Tushman in making these decisions. We had a stellar cast of nominations for these 4 different awards. However, only one person can win in each category. So right now, I will present those winners in each category, telling you a little bit about each of them. The first one is our Distinguished Educator Award, and you can see from the criteria that the domain is fairly broad and comprehensive. I'm pleased to announce that the Distinguished Educator Award goes to Mingzhi Chen this year. Given the power of words is our theme, for each of the winners, I would like to start by just giving a word about them. And for Mingzhi Chen, the Leslie Grayson Professor of Business Administration at the Darden Graduate School, University of Virginia, the word that came to mind was inspiring. Mingzhi has many noteworthy accomplishments across the many criteria for the award. But what stood out as truly unique was his work with the Chinese management scholar community and the development of doctoral students and faculty, which have all been described as inspirational. And it's important to note that it was not done as any part of a position requirement, but rather from a gallant motivation to build capacity and help people along the way. Mingzhi was described as a dedicated, passionate, and enthusiastic educator. He did this in 3 broad areas: as a teacher, as a teacher's teacher, and as a founder of a teaching and learning community of scholars. Mingzhi is widely regarded as an outstanding teacher. He is simply described as phenomenal. He's been recognized with numerous awards wherever he has taught, including Columbia, Wharton, and Darden, as well as prominent programs in China. What makes him so distinctive is not just his energy and enthusiasm, but his rare ability to be both demanding and kind. And if you've ever been in his company when he teaches or lectures or talks, you know he's one who loves a good joke along the way. We thought Mingzhi was a teacher's teacher as well. Many faculty said they owe their success in the classroom to his coaching and counseling at crucial junctures in their careers. And he often takes many people under his broad and expansive wings. He has been a faculty member for numerous Academy of Management consortia, events, faculty development workshops, and in that way he has groomed the next generation of teachers. And finally, Mingzhi is a founder of a teaching and learning community that is large and impressive. One of the things that stood out in Mingzhi's contributions was his devotion to nurturing the development of young Chinese management scholars over the past decade. While the pursuit of an academic career is challenging for everyone, it is even more so for young Chinese scholars who study or work in a U.S. institution because of the differences in language and culture. This issue has become more prominent as we've welcomed more and more Chinese doctoral students and faculty to U.S. schools. Hundreds have benefited from Mingzhi's teaching and learning. One of his nominators wrote this: Mingzhi did this with little institutional support because these workshops were not part of the Academy meetings. Basically, he had to find the locations, prepare the workshop materials, all at his own expense. In essence, he has done these workshops purely for the development and growth of these young scholars under no institutional obligation or requirement. His deed is truly noble and altruistic. What he receives in return is gratitude and respect from all the people who have benefited from these workshops. So, Mingzhi, we thank you for being such a distinguished educator, and we are proud to acknowledge your many contributions with this well-deserved award. Mingzhi? There he is. Our second Career Achievement Award goes to John Van Manen. John is the Earl Shell Professor of Management and a Professor of Organizational Studies at the MIT Sloan School of Management. In a word, I would say that John is real, maybe even raw at times. For more than 4 decades, he has regaled us with tales of the field that have revealed, informed, delighted, and sometimes shocked us with his insights. And those insights are at once eye-popping to us, but deeply respectful of the practitioners' worlds of work he studies. To wit, the opening sentence of his classic piece, The Asshole, from Policing, A View from the Street in 1978, he writes, "The asshole, creep, big mouth, bastard, animal, mope, rough, jerk-off, clown, scumbag, wise guy, phony, idiot, shithead, bum, fool, or any other number of anatomical, oral, or incestuous terms is part of every policeman's world." Perhaps our own, too, as academics, but I will leave you to speculate. John speaks the language of those he studies. He talks like a policeman, he becomes a policeman, he ultimately is a policeman. He is the astute ethnographer. He is a scholar practitioner who, in his own words, studies groups of people the old-fashioned way by living with them. His contributions are staggering. He delves deeply into the worlds his practitioners occupy, and those worlds are many and varied. Gloucester fishermen, Disney ride operators, U.S. patrol officers, London detectives and their supervisors. With publications of the last 4 decades and more, John has a long and illustrious history of contribution, and especially in opening up the conversation with other management researchers about qualitative methods and field research. He continues with vigor today, continuing to actively mentor numerous scholars, serve on many editorial boards, and taking on a new journal, Qualitative Research on Organizations and Management. Bob Sutton nicely summed up John's impact with these words. John had a huge impact on my generation of organizational researchers because when we first started graduate school, qualitative methods were generally treated as unscientific, obsolete, and so biased as to be enticing, but not anything that should ever be published in a top academic journal. Due in large part to John's example and leadership, by the time many of us had graduated with our PhDs, there were many corners where qualitative studies had become acceptable and encouraged. Beyond academia, John's insights have also proven to be attractive to and influential for practitioners. Through his teaching in MIT's Sloan Fellows Program, John has convinced hundreds of students of the benefits of qualitative approaches. Moreover, in work that he labels a contract researcher, John has not only been able to continue examining new fields, but has also set a precedent for many other field researchers to follow his lead. Bottom line, when one thinks about organizational ethnography, it is John's name and contributions that come to mind. So John, we thank you for being such a distinguished scholar practitioner and are proud to recognize your many contributions with this well-deserved award. Thank you, John. Congratulations. We got a post.
Okay. Now how do we do it?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Our next Career Achievement Award is for distinguished service, and I'm very pleased to announce that the award will go to Irene Duhame. Irene, yay, Irene, go. You go, girl. Irene is the Senior Associate Dean and Professor of Managerial Sciences at the Robinson College of Business at Georgia State University. In a word, I think Irene is tireless. When we reviewed her nominations, we recognized how Irene has given exceptional service to our profession, and we found her leadership to be both strong and humble. One person commented, "The term institutional builder fits well for Dr. Duhame. She has shaped many of the institutions we now take for granted, the BPS division, the Academy itself, Academy of Management Journals, and doctoral consortia. She is truly someone who has been of service to her profession." Irene's commitment is unparalleled, and this little trivia point is stunning to me. This is the 36th, that's 3/6, consecutive Academy of Management meetings she has attended. She has not missed a meeting since 1978. If we were giving out an attendance award, surely it would go to Irene too. But all that time when she did attend the Academy, she's been very actively involved in building and shaping the institutions throughout her career. I'll highlight two of those. One is the Academy of Management itself and the universities at which she has served as a faculty member. At the Academy, she has exerted significant leadership in the development of the Business Policy and Strategy Division, enabling it to thrive. She was elected to the leadership of the division in 1990. Many individuals, after serving in the 5-year officer rotation, nicely retire, but not Irene. Since leaving the position, she has continued to serve BPS as a member of numerous division committees and influenced the dissemination of cutting-edge research through her extensive service to Academy journals. Where perhaps Irene's influence has been most keenly felt is behind the scenes. She has done much to shape the development of doctoral education and junior faculty. She is both a generous and generative leader. Most importantly, she has helped ensure the future of the Academy itself through the development of the next generation of Academy leaders. At the universities at which she has served through her exemplary career, initially at the University of Illinois, later at Memphis, and now at Georgia State, she has served not only her faculty roles with distinction, but took on a number of significant administrative roles that have helped to fortify and change those institutions. She has served on committees too numerous to mention and in leadership positions in the Office of the Dean. Finally, we think her most consequential contributions are seen in the way she has helped build the vitality of the Academy. One of her nominators wrote, "It is her dedication to and enthusiasm for the Academy that makes her one of the association's greatest promoters and draws in a new generation of leaders." Irene is incredibly welcoming and developmental. She actively encourages doctoral students and new scholars to become engaged with the Academy. This person wrote, "I can honestly say that my own involvement with the Academy as an active member, presenter, division leader, and AMJ and AMR editorial board members are all the direct result of Irene's encouragement and her enthusiasm for the Academy." So Irene, we thank you for your distinguished service, and we are proud to recognize your many contributions with this well-deserved award. Thank you, Irene. And finally, the fourth Career Achievement Award is for scholarly contributions to management. You can see that the criteria are very broad and extensive and recognizes someone who has truly changed the scholarly field. I'm pleased to announce that this year, the Distinguished Award for Scholarly Contributions to Management goes to Max Bazerman, who apparently has his own cheering section. Max is the Jesse Isidore Strauss Professor of Business Administration at the Harvard Business School and the co-director of the Center for Public Leadership at the Harvard Kennedy School. In a word, Max is a pioneer. In reviewing his nomination, it was pretty obvious that Max has made significant and continuing contributions to understanding foundational processes that are essential to effective management and to running organizations. These include decision-making, judgment, negotiation, and more recently, ethics. The impact of his work has been felt not only in our field of management, but more broadly in the social sciences. As one of his nominators put it so succinctly, Max's vita is heavy. He has published papers in almost every journal you can think of. A committee member put his illustrious career in perspective by saying, "I'm not sure it's necessary to say anything other than he's Bazerman to justify a scholarly contribution award for this man. His work has touched many, many areas of social science. The world thinks differently because of his research and his ability to share it so masterfully." Faserman and Moore's 2013 textbook on judgment and managerial decision-making, now in its 8th edition, is a useful roadmap to Max's scholarly achievements. The book opens with several chapters addressing judgmental heuristics and illustrate many of his foundational ideas on overplacement, on insensitivity to base rate data, on change blindness, and on joint versus separate preference reversals. Perhaps this research alone would have qualified Max for the Distinguished Scholarly Contribution to Management Award, but nowhere is it as impactful as the work he has done on negotiations. Max changed the face of how negotiation is studied and taught, essentially by viewing the negotiations process through a decision-making lens. This is best represented by his book with his former student, Maggie Neal, Negotiating Reality, which is now in its 18th printing. Maggie wrote, "Prior to Max's influence, and he was relentless, negotiations were often not part of our curricular research agendas. Max changed this irrevocably. Personally, I found myself caught in a tidal wave of increased attention. I could not have been luckier. Now negotiation scholars are in the mainstream, and our courses have become an essential part of many, many business students' educations, all due, at least in part, to Max's initiative and leading voice." This relentlessness that his colleagues observed 2 decades ago persists today. His career is unbroken in its trajectory. He's been active and vigorous in his many years of contribution. And in fact, some thought the best was yet to come with his more recent work in behavioral ethics. As one person put it, in sum, Max is a brilliant, path-breaking, prolific researcher who exemplifies the ideal combination of theoretical and empirical skills that he uses in both the academic and public arena. He is the epitome of a concerned scholar who has dedicated himself to making the world a better place through hard-headed, pragmatic research. He is a perfect role model for young scholars, and he has taken on that role repeatedly, wholeheartedly, passionately, and successfully. Max, we thank you for your distinguished scholarly contributions to management and are very proud to recognize you with this well-deserved award.
Again, thank you very much for being here today and for the honor of serving you as president of our academy for this year. This has been a truly wonderful experience, and I'm deeply grateful for the trust and confidence you have shown by choosing me to serve you and our academy. Thank you. Now to the business at hand. I have the true pleasure of introducing Paul Adler. I've worked with Paul for a number of years, and it has been a tremendous experience. Because of the experiences and the opportunities I've had to work with Paul, I am extremely confident in saying that he will be an outstanding president for our association. Paul's integrity, scholarly values, strong commitment to the Academy's vision and mission, as well as its charter, and Paul's keen ability to carefully listen to multiple perspectives about issues before reaching a decision are examples of why his service to us as president will indeed be excellent. I can also say without reservation that Paul cares deeply about the Academy and is passionate about doing everything possible to collaborate with all of us as we seek to serve through our scholarship. Fellow Academy members, it is indeed my pleasure to introduce Paul Adler to you as the 70th President of the Academy of Management.
Thank you so much, Dwayne, for such an insightful and thought-provoking analysis of our situation and our opportunities facing us as the Academy of Management. You give Dwayne an assignment like this, and you know you're going to go away with some food to reflect on for the next 6 months. Much to digest here. Thank you so much. My task today is very simple. Essentially, it's to wrap up and get you out of here and into the adventures of the Academy. But before we do, my main task is to thank our outgoing past president, Ming-Jer Chen. Ming-Jer has played a very unusual and important role on our board. He's been, how should I put this? He's been kind of a spiritual mentor to us all. Ming-Jer was awarded the Educator of the Year award, or Career Educator Award, and it doesn't surprise me because that's been his role on our board. The board plays a strange role. Most of you are probably saying, what the heck is the board anyway? We play a background role, supporting the divisions, supporting the publications, enabling the work that Dwayne was describing for you. So we're very much in the background. We like it that way. But our role is to try to work with headquarters to support the work that the divisions are doing and the publications portfolio, the meetings and so forth. In that work, our board meets 3 times a year, and Ming-Jer's role in it, as I said, has been a catalyst for our creativity and our strategic thinking. As many of you may have experienced in work on boards, the instinct is to get mired in the operational details of an organization. Ming-Jer unfailingly sits in a corner of the meeting and pings us every now and again with, I'm just wondering, he says, or just to think a little bit more strategically about this. He's unfailingly an incredible coach and catalyst for us doing our work more effectively. So quietly and in the background, the board does its work. You can read more about it on the website. There's some really useful, interesting materials on the website if you want to learn more about the board's work, and we'd love to get you involved if you're interested in volunteering on the various committees that the board controls directly. But we owe a huge expression of thanks to Ming-Jer Chen, those of us who work on the board, work at headquarters, and those of you who have learnt a bit about the effectiveness of these organizations. We owe a huge vote of thanks to Ming-Jer Chen for his catalytic and guidance role for us all over these past few years. So thank you, Ming-Jer Chen. All right, everybody, onward and upward. Go enjoy a wonderful academy. There's a feast of ideas and wonderfully crafted words out there. So we look forward to seeing you over the course of the next 3 days. Thank you so much. Thank you.